Soldier stands in the rain. You'll cry when you find out why. The soldier was found standing in the middle of the road. What are you doing standing in a storm? When you find out why, you'll cry. Are you super curious? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and let's go to the video. A woman named Erin Hester from Vine Grove, Kentucky was having a tiring and stressful day. When returning home in the middle of the road, she saw something that restored her hopes and aroused incredible emotions. Erin has always been a woman very dedicated to her husband and her dreams. To achieve her goals, she worked side by side with her husband to build a beautiful life together. They met very young, fell in love immediately, that famous love at first sight, and didn't take long to get married. The life she always wanted. That woman's dream was not only to live next to the man she loved so much, she also wanted to see a house full of children spreading joy everywhere. Soon the couple had their dream come true. Erin became pregnant with their first child and realized that she was more than right. The experience of being a mother was incredible. Within a few years, the couple had 2 more beautiful children. Everything was as Erin always dreamed of. She finally had a beautiful family and a great husband. But there were things in her life that weren't really what she wanted, and you'll soon find out what that is. Super curious. On the fateful day of our story, she went out to her normal routine. She got up earlier than everyone else, made breakfast, tidied up the kids' uniforms, and woke them up to go to school. Erin got ready for work and waited for everyone in the kitchen. Her husband showed up saying good morning and gave her a passionate kiss. She found it amazing that even after all these years together, they still loved each other very much. The children came running into the kitchen, were already properly uniformed, and gave their parents a kiss. After a few minutes of family breakfast, everyone got in the car and Erin drove her kids to school, then left her husband at work and headed towards the company she worked for. Not everything is what it seems. Erin arrived at the company and swiped her card to punch in. As soon as she said good morning to the security guard and went through the door of the place, she started to feel a tightness in her chest. She greeted some coworkers and walked toward the desk she worked at every day. Within a few minutes, the boss appeared, threw a pile of folders on her desk, and rudely ordered her to handle everything by the end of the day. Erin didn't say a word. The colleagues looked at each other, knowing that soon the boss would pass by their desks and do exactly the same. Yes, Erin's perfect life crumbled every day when she walked into her workplace. This happened every day. Sometimes less folders, sometimes more folders, but there was always a lot of work. The woman was exhausted from the excess work she was given every day. An hour after she had started, the chest pain returned, along with palpitations, headache, and difficulty concentrating. Erin didn't know it yet, but she was suffering from burnout syndrome, which is basically a psychic, emotional disorder that causes wear and tear that damages the physical and emotional aspects of the person, leading to professional burnout. The woman took some aspirin and kept doing what had to be done until lunchtime, which was the only time she felt any peace. At lunchtime, Erin texted the nanny, making sure she'd picked up the kids and that they were okay. The nanny responded positively, saying that everything was fine. For Erin, it was a relief to know that everything was okay. After all, they were her constant motivation to continue where she was. At the end of the day, she'd finished everything that was asked of her, so she stopped by the boss's office and dropped off the folders. She couldn't wait to get home, have her well-deserved rest, and see the people she loved so much. Surprise on the road. Erin got in the car and grinned from ear to ear. It was a relief to her every time she got in the vehicle to go home. As soon as she left the company, it started to rain. As she was passing an intersection on 144 Joe Prather Highway, she was in for an unusual surprise. It was raining really hard, traffic was jammed, and in the midst of this chaotic situation, Erin was stunned to see a soldier standing outside his car. She was trying to understand why that man was standing there in the middle of a storm next to her Jeep and standing at attention. As she looked around for the answer, she was shocked to discover why. The soldier was there to pay tribute to a funeral procession for a complete stranger. Erin was moved by that true demonstration of empathy for others, so she thought it was good to photograph that moment and share it on her social networks so that all people could see the same act that gave her hope and humanity back. The woman wrote in the caption, "I always get frustrated when I see people in their cars not stopping for a procession, but this gentleman has gone beyond what you can imagine. I believe there is no military rule that forces soldiers to do this. Seeing the amount of respect this gentleman showed for a family he doesn't even know made my heart so happy." After the publication, in a few days, the photo went viral and reached 100,000 shares and 184,000 likes. The television channel WHAS 11 News decided to interview this man of good principles. They had some difficulties locating the soldier, but later found out that the man in the viral post was actually a colonel. His name was Jack L. Usrey. He was a senior advisor to the Army and National Guard of the Tennessee Army. They contacted him for an interview and asked him some questions. And in one of them, Jack replied, "I owe this empathy I have for others to my parents, Jim and Judy Usrey. They taught me how to do this from as far back as I can remember." Asked how he felt that day and how he coped when his photo went viral on social media, Colonel Jack replied, "So I was surprised how much a simple gesture generated such a huge reaction. My first thoughts that day were how bad the weather was sure to ease the family's sadness. I hoped my small action would show them that someone cared and empathized with them and what they were going through." This story makes it even clearer to us that we don't need to do much for each other. Showing empathy is often the best action we can do for our neighbor. A new beginning. Maybe you're wondering, what about Erin? Has her life stayed the same? After witnessing Colonel Jack's attitude, she got into internal conflicts with her emotions. She noticed that the colonel had empathized with the funeral of a complete stranger, but her boss, who had met her every day, didn't have an ounce of empathy for her and her mental health. She thought, is it really worth to keep putting myself through this? For the first time, she had the courage to talk to her husband about everything that was going on at the office and how it was affecting her health. Her husband had always been very understanding, and since he loved her, supporting her was almost like an instinct. He said that she should not continue in that company, even if they were financially tight. What he wanted was what was the best for the woman he loved so much. Erin, with tears in her eyes, hugged him and cried like a small child. From that day on, she would be a new woman. She took her attitude of resigning and, with her unemployment insurance, decided to undertake and seek a psychological help to fully recover. Erin always knew how to make sweets very well. This was one of her specialties that her children loved the most. Her talent was used to make a new life. She opened a bakery called Erin's Cakes, and within a few months the business grew exponentially. Erin felt like she was in a dream. She was happy to have a beautiful family and a job she loved so much. It's amazing how a small action that may not be significant to you can change the day and maybe someone's life. Just like what happened to Erin when she saw Colonel Jack in the middle of the rain. So super curious? You already know, don't you? Something small for you can change someone's life. Want to do something for someone today? If you like exciting and amazing stories like this, also check out the story of this soldier who died saving his colleagues, and what they did for the soldier's daughter will surprise you. To watch, just click on the video that's appearing on your screen.